Okay, so as we pass through these traffic lights at the crossroads and start to approach Shirley High Street, we'll note the new 20-mile-an-hour speed limit signs, which have recently been put in place. And there are a lot of areas across Southampton where speed limits that were previously 30 miles an hour have been dropped to 20. And if the red ring signs are displayed, we are now legally obliged to observe those speed limits. Predominantly in place for pedestrian and vulnerable road user risk reduction. So speed has a squared relationship with both your stopping distance but also any resultant impact energy. So in pedestrian, cycle, scooter rich zones we're entering now in Shirley High Street, taking speed out is deemed to enhance vulnerable road user safety. I'll put some a link to some details on that in the description. Again, off to our left there, just by the bus stop, you'll see the repeater sign on the lamp stanchion. So 3 mirror sweeping before we move off, also scanning through the crossroads, of course, but the rainbow sweep frequently as we're travelling on along the high street. Again, a repeater sign there on the next lamp post. So a reminder that normally if there are lamp stanchions, lamp posts with no repeater signs on, that the assumption we make is that it is a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. But if there are regular repeaters indicating anything other than 30, we must adhere to that limit. The other thing just to be aware of in terms of speed limits, despite popular belief at this moment in time, they don't currently apply to cyclists. So the offence of speeding in its own right does not apply to a pedal cyclist. However, they do have an obligation to ride safely. But the fact that they may be exceeding 20 miles an hour in this context, in a way that a driver is not permitted to do, and they are permitted to pass on either side of the vehicle, once again makes it crucially important that we keep our head moving on these 3 mirror sweeps. In these sort of environments, acceleration sense is your friend, so very light adjustments of gas pedal pressure rather than harsh acceleration and then needing to brake again. Just try and keep the car constantly flowing along, and against that objective, if we keep a nice separation gap on the vehicle in front of us, that will enable us to have more time to ease back off the gas pedal. Even more important, if the vehicle in front is a large bus, the closer you get to the back of that vehicle, the less you can see. So a little bit of space. See, now we've got a scooter rider coming along here, actually on the pavement area to our left. Those are the type of road users, vulnerable road users we are now scanning for, 3-mirror scanning. For any pedestrians walking out in front of the bus. And now scanning to the Belisha Beacon zebra crossing to clear both sides. So checking that right mirror before tapering out to avoid the bus lane, and also scanning down the outside edge of the oncoming bus and row of traffic for any anyone passing. So motorcyclists. 20 mile an hour speed limit again on the road there. These traffic lights, we will turn to the right. So here again, frequently mirror scanning. There goes the scooter rider who's on the pavement to our left. So we're scanning left and right. As you can see, we've got a cyclist crossing, we've got a pedestrian. So in these environments, you've got to keep your head moving. There's a pedestrian crossing directly behind my car, and two are waiting to cross. Also looking into the road we intend to turn in and trying to get any early view, any reflections in the yellow sort of shop window there. Any early indications of what's going on into the road we intend to turn into. So 3 mirror scanning before we move the car forward, keeping the steering wheel straight at this point. Looking into the road, looking down the inside edge of that Range Rover, checking there is no scooter rider coming down the inside, or cyclist or any other small vehicle that could have been filtering through the gap there. Once again, we can see the repeater sign for 20 mile an hour speed limit. According to my speedometer, that is exactly 20 miles an hour. So that's what it feels like. If you can get some view from that, some sort of sense of pace from that, from the camera. Scanning both sides of the pedestrian crossing. The button hasn't been pressed, so we're not anticipating that it's going to change, but we have checked how close the black car behind us is. We note here that we're entering a one-way road. Bit of debris or roadkill there, so we're trying to keep our tyres just off of that. Sharp bones of a dead animal can damage and puncture tyres, as well as being generally not very pleasant, smelling too great. So again, at 20 miles an hour, we need to be well aware of any cyclists using the bus lane quite legitimately, and an enthusiastic cyclist down that hill is possibly going to be doing more than 20 miles an hour. So at this point, when the cycle lane comes to an end and the speed limit increases, we need to be actively on that left-hand mirror, making sure that nobody is coming along our inside, which they're not today. Having confirmed that, we're now actively on our right-hand mirror and shoulder area. Put a signal on, increase the pace to match the cars already using the multi-lane, and move over smoothly. Taking a more economical gear. Cyclists near side. Again, checking our mirrors. Now on a multi-lane, unless we're overtaking slower moving traffic, the default position is the left-hand lane. Traffic light's currently red, so we're off the gas early, letting the car naturally decelerate before gently applying some brakes. Again, bring those brakes in early, smoothly, gently. And now the car's almost grinding to a halt, so just ease back off the brake pressure to allow a nice, smooth stop. The car into neutral, and in this car, stop-start will kick in. So we're getting environmental benefits, as well as the safety benefit of being out of gear in the event of a rear-end shunt. And additionally, we're not wearing our clutch release mechanism. So clutch is designed only to be used for brief periods when changing gear. So to be sitting here with our foot on the clutch and the gear engaged over time is detrimental to the car. So the traffic head is moving. So we're preparing to move, taking first gear, 3 mirror sweeping, scanning for filtering cyclists, motorcyclists, etc. So up into second gear before we get to the hazard. So we drive through the hazard, scanning both ways with our hands back on the steering wheel and in a flexible gear, rather than being changing gear mid hazard. Remain in this left-hand lane, which will feed us off towards Millbrook roundabout, spiral roundabout. The other 2 lanes head on in towards Totton. And our intention at Millbrook roundabout is to go right to third exit. But as we said, it's a spiral roundabout. So if we look at the sign here, we're heading for Millbrook Park, but we actually do that in this left-hand lane. So the right-hand lane only goes to the A35. So if we look at that as we go around, so what was the left hand of 2 lanes becomes the middle of 3 lanes. Checking the lights are green. We remain in our lane lines and carry on round, keeping the head movement all round. Again, checking the lights remain green, staying in our lane. And now the spiral lines have spiraled us out. So we were in the middle of 3 lanes. We are now in the outside lane. Just giving some space here to the Mercedes, which needs to change lane. And so as we go around, we will be exiting, taking what we come to the next exit, which takes us past KFC and McDonald's. But if you watch as we exit, you'll see that the lane I'm in also continues round to Trabora Way, or the Screwfix exit, as a reference. So the left-hand lane on the approach there will take us pretty much anywhere we need to go. In contrast, if we'd been in the lane which the Mercedes is now moving itself out of, that would only have permitted us to exit to Trabora Way past Screwfix. So here we now want to take the next exit, so I'm checking the left-hand mirror, popping a signal on to tell people we plan to exit. But as we exit, if you look where the little silver Corsa is, we could have followed that route and taken the next exit. Cancelling the signal promptly once we're in to avoid any confusion to this white car emerging from the McDonald's entrance. And we will go left first exit out of the mini roundabout. Again, just being aware of speed limits in the area we're now in, so looking at those light stanchions, no sign of 20 mile an hour repeaters. So we're assuming it's 30. Mirrors signal to the left. We're going to take first exit at the mini road.